So the solo leveling anime is officially here, and I think you could argue this is one of the more anticipated watches of at least the past year, maybe longer, because when this originally got announced, I mean, a poster image alone was setting the community on fire, videos being made, posts upon posts, and while there was definitely some worry that A1 Pictures was going to rush it out too soon. I mean, people are like, oh, are we going to get an 86 situation? We're going to get part of it, and that's going to get delayed. And then there was some delays. I think originally the rumblings was that it was going to be a back-to-back 2-core, and right now it's listed as 12 episodes, so I have to imagine we're getting 2 different batches of episodes. And walking in and out of this first episode, the only thing I really knew about it was hype, that it was one of the more popular series, and in terms of like mechanics, world building, character progression, deaths, or anything really about it, I knew literally nothing. This was all just word of mouth, going in blind, and I think we definitely need to talk about this first episode, not only because it was a very good first episode, but it definitely gave me a vibe and a kind of taste that I haven't really experienced quite like this, which probably helps because, you know, the whole webtoon, manhwa kind of situation being adapted, that can go pretty average or pretty extraordinary, because I know there's a lot of great stuff that has yet to be adapted, kind of the webtoon medium. So walking in, seeing so much hype and excitement, I mean, I remember seeing a lot of creators talk about this one for a long time, and walking out of this, I only have really, I think, one major criticism about it, and that is, I think they messed up by not having this be a double-length episode, like maybe having like a 13-episode season, having that quote-unquote 1-hour premiere, just because, like, there's sometimes those shows that feel like, okay, I appreciate the slow build-up, like not really jumping into saying, hey, insert character death here. And the first 10 minutes of this flew by in a blink of an eye. The world building, the idea of the portals, opening it up, here's these hunters, the aptitude with their magic abilities gives them their rank, normal bullets and stuff aren't going to kill these creatures. I love all that. I don't want that changed at all. But like, by the time the episode ends and you just are like, everyone's fucked, and the credits play, I mean, I really feel like a double length would have done this justice, but it doesn't change the fact that I'm absolutely excited to jump into episode 2 next week, and we got a shit ton to talk about because I personally love this first episode, one of my personal favorite first episodes of the season for sure. And as someone who knows literally nothing about where this goes, I look at this situation as everyone is completely screwed, yet we know our MC has to make it out of this because otherwise there wouldn't be a damn show unless they wanted to shift characters, and he's on the goddamn poster, so he ain't going anywhere, so we'll find out where it goes. I do have a full live reaction to this wonderful first episode over on my Patreon, so if you would like to see my full uncut thoughts, they're over there if you're interested. Like I said, I know literally nothing about this. This is completely fresh and blind, and I think the thing that immediately caught my eye with this was how real it felt, which is, you know, people like to say, real. There's a goblin, there is this mythical creature, and you're saying it feels real. I hate it when people do this, but I always have to explain it. The banes of my existence of being a YouTuber is I have to baby sometimes people. What I mean when I say things feel real is that yes, there's mythical elements to this show, but the way the characters are interacting with said mechanics or creatures, if we were put into a world like theirs, this is how I would expect people to actually act. And immediately, this doesn't feel like your traditional high school anime. And what I mean is like those, okay, here's the MC, super socially awkward, obviously he's gonna probably build a harem, or he just doesn't have confidence and he's just a bore to watch. It's like, why is this guy gonna be the OP guy of the show, right? If the show's called Solo Leveling, I mean, I'm gonna have to assume our MC is gonna become an absolute badass and become really ridiculous, right? It's pretty much in the name. And almost immediately, like, just him walking through that little, like, construction area, right? We get, like, this big exposition dump, which didn't really feel like exposition, but, like, really was at the end of the day. We're walking through, and everyone's kind of like, you think, like, he's the hot shot already. I'm like, okay, like, are we just jumping in and basically, like, he's already, like, #1 dog? And no, he's the weakest. Like, people, like, think he's pretty much pathetic at the end of the day, but there is some general friendliness, like, you know, we don't want to say it to his face, we don't want to hurt the guy's feeling, but I mean, he goes on the weakest missions and barely comes back alive. Like, you don't want him on your team, basically. And there's a little bit of mystery, there's a little bit of like, hey, listen, we're pretty much going about, like, there's something with his father, there's a mystery there. But I like the idea that pretty much we go into what should be a pretty easy mission for a lot of people, and we see him almost die like that. Like, he gets stabbed right in the chest, or like in the stomach area, and if it wasn't for his healer girlfriend over here, or at least she wants to be his girlfriend, I mean, she's hustling for that date. I respect it. The fact that when you see the healing, it's even different there. Like, the characters act their age, or at least act like they're not just an anime trope to be like, oh, here's the tsundere, here's the wimpy MC who will become an overpowered badass and has no social skills, so will just seem like a douchebag. Like, I generally like looked at characters talking, I'm like, oh, they feel like people. Like, they actually feel real, like the way they're being written. We hardly had any interaction with our main character, and I was already like, you know what? He already outclasses half the characters I see in any given anime season just because he feels normal and not pathetic, and I really appreciate it. They didn't go the whole alpha energy like he's the big dog. No, he just felt pretty normal. Like, yeah, I think anyone would be a little uncomfortable because of how everyone views him, but most importantly, he ain't given up, and I can kind of respect the hustle. At a certain point, I would probably turn around, especially when I see a giant fucking gate. I just can't do that. Like, the whole idea of like, what needs a door that big? I'm this tall in comparison. I'm getting McDonald's, bro. I'm out. Like, that's just me anyway. But I appreciate the fact that when it comes to like the brutality, and there is some brutality, there's head severed, people being stabbed in the stomach, and even the healing magic is grotesque. It doesn't feel gory. It doesn't feel like edgy, I guess I should say, because it does feel gory, but not in the way that it's a shock factor. I never feel like they're trying to splatter the screen to be like, ooh, do you see how grotesque? No, it's like, this is the brutality of the world. And some of my favorite anime that have used like very brutal monsters in terms of attacking is stuff like a Grimgar Fantasy and Ash, something where like goblins can be some of the most dangerous things for low-level people because, I mean, you're not indestructible, you're not Hercules, right? And the fact that anything can stab you and kill you at a moment's notice, and these holes that are in their body and the way they fill back up, almost like this reverse kind of like, it's gross. It is, but it never feels like, oh, we're just doing this for the shock and gore. It's like, no, if you're gonna tell the anime watcher that you're watching something where you can physically die at a moment's notice, and you're seeing these very brutal attacks, but it's not like they're shoving the camera up like a GoPro being like, you see all their organs, you see how gross this is? It's more like, holy shit, they are screwed. And I really enjoyed the vibe. I wasn't expecting it to be this intense whatsoever. I didn't know it had this level of brutality, nor did I know it had this level of brutality but felt so realistic without being an edgy mess all at the same time. One of the biggest surprise for me of this show, next to the general characters feeling normal. Like, even the girl who like just wanted to turn around because clearly she doesn't want to see the guy that she's friends with and potentially even has a crush on get killed when he's not fit for this job. But you also understand why this man needs his money and needs to progress the way he is, even if he's not a fit for the job and is kind of stupid at the end of the day. And when it came to that big fight, I mean, I knew a boss fight when I saw one, but I mean, that was creepy. I was like, okay, are we getting some Weeping Angel shit from Doctor Who? Like, if we stop looking at them, are they gonna move? And that kind of seems like what happened, because those two guards, the one was kind of like resting his weapon at one point, but he gets splattered, big laser blast, and the only really thing we get to see from our MC that seems like he's very talented at is observation. He knew about that attack before it happened because he's very good at carefully observing things. So it'll be interesting because I don't know how he gets out of this, because unless he gets some magical power up or he unlocks his true hidden talent, I don't know what he's going to do, but I'm definitely excited for more. Voice actors were great, the characters intrigue me, the world building is fascinating, but I think most importantly, it just feels like it's realistic for their setting. If portals did open up and had all these kind of monsters come in terms of, okay, we need the hunters in terms of how they're going to deal with it, but most importantly, like the way characters interact with each other and the blend of what is a normal looking environment with this more magical kind of like aesthetic to it, it just feels different. It does. I didn't know what to expect with this one. I thought it was just kind of be like an action anime, because like the webtoon stuff that I've seen up to this point, while I've enjoyed, hasn't been anything that I would be like, oh, I can see why people are calling this an amazing adaptation or like an amazing source that maybe didn't get the greatest adaptation. But this one, I'm like, no, this has potential to be one of A1 Pictures' best projects to date, and this has me incredibly excited for more. But you know the drill, those are my feelings. Let me know what you thought of the first episode of Soul Leveling down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, of course, ring that bell so you get notified when I upload more of the channel, and like I mentioned, we have a full live reaction over on my Patreon, and hey, while you're over there, you also get a video shout out. So today we have Hasim Safel, Jin-Woo, Jessica L. Compton, Blunk Skabolba, Hinokaga, and Kovacs Adams. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care and have a good one.